Alright, everybody, I'm starting a new chapter in my podcast / filming channel, I guess you could say, titling it The Diary of an Entrepreneur. Every week I'm going to be going over my diary for the week, my successes, my shortcomings. Then I'm also going to do a book review and go over books I'm reading for the week. I recently just got in a order of 11 books from Amazon. So I am going to go over that and just kind of go chapter by chapter, dive deep into some of them, and just kind of break them down so you guys don't have to read them. You guys can just listen. The first one I'm going to go over is The Art of Persuasion. I read the first chapter earlier, opened it up. Very good book. Chapter 1 is called Winning Without Intimidation. And it talks about this monk who is named Simon Ben Zoma. And he asks the question, who is a mighty person? It's a good question. And his answer to this is the one who can control his emotions and make an enemy a friend. I think that's a very important thing just to process and think about. Like, you have to control who you are and what you're thinking in a certain situation. You have to try to come out with the best possible scenario despite adversity. Don't try to battle with your enemies, but try to create a situation where your enemy can come to your side, where you can join forces. The first section of this chapter was how we make decisions. Human beings act out of emotions, not logic. You will never make a choice out of logic, but you will make the choice out of emotion and back it up with logic. And this is pretty evident in sales. And we all do sales and we all sell things. It's just not physical products sometimes. You sell ideas to your spouse, when you want to go to eat, when your kids and what you want them to do today or with their life as a whole. You tell them to go to bed early, to not do drugs, and each time you make that interaction with somebody, you're selling to them. Doesn't matter if it's professional or not. And each choice based on your emotion is countered around two emotions. Your desire for pleasure and you want to avoid pain. Every time we make a decision that we desire for pleasure or we're trying to avoid pain, we back it up with logic. We don't make the decision based on logic, but we back it up with logic. And this goes into our next section, the role our egos play. What kind of pleasure do we pursue? It's a good question. If you think about it, emotional pleasure, physical pleasure, you want to have sex, you want to eat good food, you want to be with friends you enjoy, love, and that drives you to do things that you want to if you didn't have that want to feel a certain way. And this goes to one of our biggest pleasures. The pleasure for power. It's a desire for power that fuels your ego. It makes your ego feel happy. That's what your ego wants. Everybody's like, oh, I don't have an ego. We all have an ego. We all want it to win. We all want power. And that's true in a lot of things of parents and kids, which we'll talk about later, and many other situations. Salespeople, clients at a store, and all that. The other side of it is avoidance of pain. And the physical pain is the least important thing in this category. The pain that you want to avoid is pain on getting fired, pain on making a big change, pain of a divorce, which goes into that. And another big one is the pain of embarrassment. You want to keep your status up, which fits in the ego category. Your ego comes into the category because you want to be the best you can and you're trying to avoid losing your ability to have power. Which, again, goes into the roles we play in relationships. There's 3 personality traits. Well, not traits. There are 3 personality states, I should say. You have the parent, the adult, and the child. The child is the victim. Everybody's had a situation where they feel put down, punished, controlled. This results in us feeling angry or wanting to get even. And then we react and we lash out. The parents, typically, the victim is her upbringing or biases in her environment. We mean well, but we don't recognize that we put other people down. We don't recognize that we make other people feel loved, which pretty typically make the kids the victims. And then there's the best state you can be in, the adult. I'm not planning on cropping these videos typically, but I just had coughing attacks, so I ended up stopping this, going to get a drink of water. But I'm going to start off from where I was a second ago. The adult is the perfect state to be. It's about positive negotiation. It's the communicator of the group. They're respectful, they're active listeners, they're the one in the group who's trustworthy, easy to love, and to respect. This is the state you want to be in. They control their emotions, and they kind of just bring everything down. Make it easy. In every interaction with people, you're going to have all 3 of these coming through. You can be multiple states in the same time. You can be the child, adult, and parent all within the same conversation with somebody. But you must always bring yourself back to the adult level if you want to have a win-win situation at the end. You need to bring yourself to that state where you're an active listener, where you respect what other people think, where you truly just want the best for the other person, and you're not trying to put anybody down, and you're not trying to retaliate because you feel put down. This is where you respond, and you don't react. There is a difference between responding versus reacting. Responding is positive action. Reacting is a negative action. With a response, you think it out, and then you act in a more positive fashion. React, you let it control you, and you act in a negative reaction or action because the event controls you instead of you controlling what happens with the event. And you always have to be responding versus reacting if you want that win-win scenario. And that's what this entire book's about. It's chasing the win-win scenario. And a lot of this takes tact. Tact, as the author says, is the language of strength, also known as diplomacy. It's the ability to say something in a way that the other person isn't offended, but actually wants to listen and take your side. And that is the end of chapter 1. And essentially just try to strive for a win-win scenario. And that is how you're going to succeed. That's how you're going to get the other person persuaded. If they genuinely believe you have their best interest in mind, they're going to want to listen to you. They're going to be far more receptive than if you're just trying to convince them to do something that you know is bad for them. You need to try to find the positive in both situations. Make them feel as if you want the best for them. That way you win. It's not about you winning and them losing. It's about you both winning, which helps you win more. So I'll keep you guys updated as I read farther, but this is just chapter 1 of The Art of Persuasion. Cool.